to the home floor tonight. Mike Krzyzewski's been to 7 Final Fours. He's won 2 national championships, and we talked to him about just how good his 97-98 edition is.
It could become an outstanding team. It's not an outstanding team now. It's a very good team that's playing with outstanding effort. If we can keep that effort going while we learn more about each other, then we have a chance to become an outstanding team. We're not an outstanding team right now.
Well, the 3 victims since the Maui trip may disagree with Mike Krzyzewski as you look the last 3 games. Duke's winning by an average of almost 53 points a game. And Dick Vitale, you and I have seen a lot of Duke teams over the year. Where does this one stack up, do you think?
I'll tell you, Brad, you talk about great teams. This has to be right up there when you look at the depth factor. They're so deep, but they still have to do it. And Mike's right. They got to go on the road, play against quality competition in the ACC, and then we'll be able to say how good they are. But the bottom line is, I know this. There are a lot of teams in America that would like to have that second 5. In fact, they're reminiscent of 1996, when we talked about Kentucky, and Kentucky won the national title. They were very, very deep. This basketball team has players like Rashawn McLeod, Chris Burgess, William Avery.
Afternoon of fun and frivolity in the Salt City. Jim, tonight's game. Hey, I see you're all set up back there in the party area. Tell us about tonight's game.
Well, Pete, I mean, if you're going to come to the city, you might as well have a good time in it, right? So
I'd go along with that.
You find us back in the party area. Yeah, you have to. Jim Sadlin, who's going to be working the game, is with me right now, and so we'll just sort of get everybody squared away on what they're going to see here tonight. I found it real interesting, by the way.
It's not snowing.
No, it's not snowing. It was a nice day. It was a nice day. Yeah. I found it real interesting, though, when you get into town and you read the paper, and one of the writers had written down, it said, this is the last gimme game for Syracuse before they start playing real opponents.
I wonder if Tim Cohane and his squad saw that. I'm sure they did, and that'll be right up posted in the locker room. But, you know, I think what they're trying to get across is that they go from here to Vegas tomorrow, play out there, and tough game. Then they go to the Puerto Rican tournament to play St. Louis and probably TCU and maybe Michigan or Arkansas. So it gets a lot tougher here on out. You know, this is a big game for UB, obviously, to see whether they can play with the big boys tonight. And they're going to have to come in full blast here to hang with Syracuse tonight, I think.
You know, it's interesting from the standpoint, too, that UB, and you and I worked a game with UB already, and we said, you know what, these guys can really shoot the 3. No, they can't. They're shooting less than 28%. I mean, they have, even though they are a supposedly superb outside shooting team, Jimmy, they have really struggled with their outside shots.
And it was interesting in that same article this morning, Tim Cohane was quoted as saying, if you Syracuse fans, you've never seen threes until you see them tonight because they're going to rain threes. Well, I thought the exact same thing you did. You know, you look at Mike Martino, who's supposed to be one of the best shooters in the country and is a great shooter. He's shooting like 24% from the three-point line. And, you know, so they're going to have to make a ton of threes tonight, though, to hang in this game because they just don't have the size to be able to compete inside with a very good Syracuse team, too, by the way.
They are a very good Syracuse team. You know what, and I wanted to ask you this because you see them on a much more regular basis than I have a chance to see them, but they have played some close games against, I don't want to use the term inferior talent, but talent that is not in their class. Now, why is that? Why did they not take control of those games and take care of business like they should have?
Well, I think they've got some new players trying to work into the lineup. Brian Blackwell is a transfer, and he's trying to still feel his way. He's a very good player, by the way. Etan Thomas is starting at the center spot, and he's kind of just coming into his own as a sophomore. And I think that what Boeheim has tried to do is bring some kids in, some of his freshmen, and get them some time and so on. But I think more importantly, they've keyed towards certain games. They've really looked towards St. John's and BC on the road. Have played well. Do I say they look past Colgate? I don't know, but I mean, they didn't play as hard against Colgate as I've seen them play in some other games. So I think that's part of their modus operandi right now. So they're going to have to get away from that, though, if they expect to be successful.
Don't use those big words on me. You know, I struggle with.
Nervous.
I do. I start.
You and Pete Weber. God, Weber's probably shaking his head back there saying, what's going on here? I don't know what he's talking about.
We're always thinking of Pete. It's interesting from the point that you make about UB and about Syracuse and the way that these two teams have traveled their basketball highway so far this year. UB 5-3, Syracuse undefeated now in 7 games, and we talked about what happens to them after they play this game at the Carrier Dome tonight. But there is a player who has really exploded on the scene here at Syracuse. His name is Ryan Blackwell. You talked about him briefly. Expand just a little bit. He right now is the leading scorer at nearly 15 a game. He's also the leading rebounder at nearly 9 a game.
And he just comes off of a most valuable player performance in the Carrier Classic this last weekend. And Like any player who's transferred, it took him a while to get things moving. Transferred from the University of Illinois, but there's a story behind that because he comes from the Pittsburgh or the Rochester suburb of Pittsburgh, came down between Illinois and Syracuse in the recruiting battle, went to Illinois, didn't play enough, then the coach quit, so he really didn't have any ties to Illinois, decided to come back to Syracuse. Boeheim and that group were extremely pleased, and he's actually Syracuse probably their best player. He's their most talented guy. You watch him play and you say, well, gee, he doesn't jump real high, doesn't run real fast, doesn't shoot particularly well. He just does all those things well, and that's why he's a good player.
Todd Bergen is a guy who is climbing slowly into the record books. Obviously, he's not going to catch Lawrence Moulton as the all-time scorer here at Syracuse, but he did indeed. He is now over 1,000 points in his career. A left-handed guy who causes a lot of difficult matchup problems.
He does, and he's 6'7", strong, plays against, for instance, tonight. Now, he's going to be matched up probably against Rashawn Young.
Sure.
And Young is 6'3", maybe, you know, and strong, but Bergen's 6'7" and strong. So he creates a lot of problems for players because he can go outside and shoot the three. He's like Martino, though, that you mentioned earlier, like the team. Not a great shooter from the outside. Doesn't have great numbers from the three-point range. I mean, pathetic numbers at this point, 15, 16, 18%. But he's a threat every time he gets the ball because he can post up, he can drive to the basket, he rebounds the ball pretty well, and you know, I'm sure he's looking to be a pro later on, but he's a tough guy for anybody to handle.
Syracuse is rated 25th right now in the polls. Are they a top 25 team as you see them?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know, other than the fact they haven't really played a great schedule yet, quite frankly, Jim. They've won at St. John's and FBC, but I don't know what that means either at this time of the year. They do have some good players, and I think as the season goes on, they're going to get better. But if they're probably one of the top 25 teams in the country, I would think.
Jim Sadlin and myself working the game tonight. You'll be able to watch it, of course, on the Empire Sports Network. It all starts at 7:30, and we have a lot more coming up from the Carrier Dome in this hour. We're going to talk a little crunch action, and Tim Cohane, UB Bulls head basketball coach, is going to stop by for his thoughts on tonight's upcoming game against the Orange Men. Right now, let's send it back to the studios, and here's Pete.
Jim Sadlin stole my basketball tie. I knew I left that courtside one night, and there he has it. Oh, well, at least we've located the culprit. Thank you very much, guys. You're darn right I'm talking about you. Clothing for Fan TV is provided by the M. Weil Factory Outlet, 2020 Elmwood Avenue.
Tyson Nash is with me, and we're sitting here talking a little bit, and I said, okay, so you like to play that left wing? I'll play right wing, I'll play left wing, I'll play any wing. You just want to get on the ice, don't you?
Yeah, basically that's what it comes down to. Whatever guys go down, you just have to play there. So they throw you in whatever, defense, goal, I'll play it, whatever.
You know, we talked earlier about this on Fan TV when Howard and I got into a discussion about the Syracuse Crunch now operating in dual partnership with Pittsburgh and also Vancouver. Tyson's out of the Vancouver organization, so he's a Canuck. How has that worked out? Has that been difficult for the guys to really kind of mesh together? Because you told me actually you guys are a pretty good club, but things just haven't worked out real well yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, any good team, team's got to be close. You gotta connect that family type atmosphere. And at first it was definitely tough, and but we had a lot of, we've had a lot of team togetherness.
Right now, his club coming in tonight here at the Carrier Dome with a 5-3 record. Syracuse ranked 25th in the country, unbeaten in 7 games right now. Your team struggling with the perimeter shot. You told me earlier in the season when we did a televised game of yours down at the arena that you guys pretty much were going to live and die by the perimeter, and in the last couple of outings, you've died by it.
Definitely. You know, Mike is just a little cold right now, Jim, but he's had periods like this before, and I know that he'll snap out of it, and hopefully tonight, but during the course of the year, he's going to have his moments like he has the past 3 years.
Talking about Mike Martino right now, who is a premier three-point shooter, but right now is shooting around 24% behind the arc. Do teams take adjustments and move their defense out near the arc to defend him to make it that much more difficult for him to get that shot?
They've been really keen on him much more than Rasan. You know, Rasan catches the ball, sort of backs people down, and they have time to double team him. Mike gets his shot off so quick, maybe the quickest release in the country, that people trail him all over. And, you know, he's not that big and strong a kid, so sometimes if they get a guy on them tailing pretty good, they can stop them.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about Rasan Young, a guy who's averaging nearly 20 points a game. He is your leading scorer right now, and he can do it from the outside, he can do it from the inside, but he's going to be matched up probably this evening, maybe against Todd Bergen, a guy who's, what, about 6'7", 6'7.5", and Young is about 6'3", so he's got his work cut out for him tonight.
Well, I think Rasan will, you know, he'll be able to get some shots off on Todd, but whether he can contain Todd Bergen. Bergen is big, he gets his shot off quickly, he can drive, he rebounds, he runs the floor. He's an awesome athlete. That goes for all the players. They're all 4 inches bigger than us, and it's a real challenge for all our players.
All right, but you did have a breakout game by Alcus against Bonaventure. He went for 20 points, a career high.
That was great to see. He's a kid who's, for 2.5 years, has persisted. We've always known he could score and pass, Jim, but his defense and toughness and rebounding has been lacking. So we noticed in practice this week, as a result of that, his self-esteem is way up, and I think he's going to start to come along now.
I know that you made some funny statements, and you try to, you know, keep everything as loose as you possibly can. And one of the things that you said, you know, we're going to walk into the arena shooting. I mean, we're going to rain threes all over Syracuse tonight. Is that really your philosophy this evening? You're going to try to bring it down and take the best available shot and really try to push the ball against this team?
No.
Why did I know that?
We're going to try to win.
Okay.
And the best way to do that is just use great judgment. We've got to use great judgment tonight of when to take the fast break and when to really work the ball. Because if there's too many possessions, Jim, we can't guard them for that long. They're just too good.
When you are matched up against this club and you have the victory over this team, not as head coach of UB, but as an assistant at Boston College, you know what it takes to win in this particular arena.
In that case, it took a great long-distance shot by Howard Isley in double overtime to win that game. But, yeah, I did learn a lot about this arena when I was at BC, and that the main thing is you can't let the lid get blown out by the crowd or by a run of dunking, because you can get Syracuse can get a 10-0 spurt if you don't get a timeout. We're going to use timeouts if they score twice in a row, as many as we have, because they can get a run on you and blow you out like they did last year. We've played 11 Big East teams, Jim, in the last 4 years. We've beat 2 of them. We've been blown out 3 times. We've had 6 other competitive games. In the games that we were blown out, we panicked. And that's what we really don't want to try. If we fall behind by 8 or 10, we don't want to panic and try to catch up right away.
How excited are the guys to come into this arena and play in front of maybe 20,000 people?
Well, I think it's a great experience for them, because someday, we don't know when, but someday the University of Buffalo will go to an NCAA tournament and play a team like this in an arena like this. So for that, it's a great preparation, and, you know, I think they're very excited about it.
Defensively, you're going to match up zone, you're going to go man-to-man, you're going to change up.
Mostly we'll just go man-to-man, and we'll try to see if that works for us, and, you know, go from there.
Anytime you're going to play a top-ranked team, I'm just going to lay this out for you right now, because I know that you watched television last night, you read the paper this morning. There were several top-rated teams that went down last night. Michigan loses to Eastern Michigan. Marshall takes care of business against Wake Forest. I mean, upsets are commonplace right now in college basketball.
They are, and what's really interesting about those upsets, those are 2 teams in the MAC conference that we're going into next year. So, you know, upsets can happen. Anything can happen tonight. But realistically, you know, Syracuse is a very superior team to us. Everything's got to go perfect for us as far as not turning the ball over. If you turn the ball over against Syracuse, it's a dunk. So I think that would be the key thing, not turning the ball over.
Ryan Peterson has been pretty good at protecting the basketball. He's got 49 assists and only 17 turnovers. He's a freshman, and he is the guy that you really entrust into getting that ball and setting up your offense.
He's a very confident young man, a very poised guy. It's interesting that he's going against Hart, who's one of the greatest guys that's stealing the ball in the country, and that'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I have a lot of confidence in Ryan, and he'll use good judgment. I know he will.
He is Tim Cohane. He is the head coach of the UB Bulls, and in just about an hour from right now, he's got a date with the Syracuse Orangemen, the number 25 team in the country, on the Orangemen's home court, the Carrier Dome. And by the way, you'll be able to watch it on the Empire Sports Network beginning at 7:30. Coach, best of luck, and thank you for stopping by.
Jim, thanks for coming all the way down here.
Okay, buddy. My pleasure. Pete, that's the scene that we have for you right now. They expect a good crowd here this evening. As we've talked about, no snow on the ground. The weather's picture perfect. No difficulties getting to the arena. We're ready to play basketball, and we will indeed tip it off at 7:30. Pete?
Well, Jim, I hope your headphones fit very tightly, because I know how loud it gets in that building. Enjoy.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Jim Brinson getting set to bring you University at Buffalo.
Work online at www.empiresports.com. Everybody, they're watching Fan TV. Here with the fans.
The following is a special live presentation of Empire Sports Network.
Jim Boeheim's Syracuse Orangemen are on a roll. Syracuse is off to a 7-0 start and is ranked 25th in the country. The UB Bulls can shoot the three with deadly accuracy. They'll need some long-range bombs to pull off the biggest upset in school history. It's UB versus Syracuse from the Carrier Dome, and it's next on Empire. He's got it. He's going to shoot it, too. He's got time. No, he gave it up. Martino for three in the win. Got it! No rebound. Here comes Hart. The long pass. And the flip by Virgil. Empire Sports Network presents the M&T Bank Big Four Basketball Series. Live from the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York, it's the UB Bulls and the Syracuse Orangemen. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Brinson, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the UB-Syracuse college basketball game. And as you might well imagine, Syracuse has pretty much had their way against the University of Buffalo. Let's check out the series record for you right now, and here it is. In their first meeting last year in '96, Syracuse dominating UB at 79-45. Syracuse has won the last 13, and they lead the series 25-5. Joining me, as always, Jim Sadlin, getting ready for tonight's telecast. Interestingly enough, Jimmy, when you talk about UB, let's check out what they did against St. Bonaventure. They were in this game, had a chance to actually win this game at the Riley Center, came up a little bit short. One of the guys for UB who really has to get the outside shot going, particularly tonight, is Mike Martino.
And Mike Martino has really struggled, Jim, shooting the ball this year, especially from the three-point stripe. If there's going to be a place that he can get out of this slump, this is the place for it to happen. And guess what? UB needs him tonight to have a huge game. But he does more than just shoot it. He really guards you. He's a tough kid. He can do a lot of things. But tonight, it's imperative that he shoots the ball well.
All right, now for Syracuse, Todd Bergen is their money man. And in the season right now, a 7-0 record for the Orangemen. They're coming off a Carrier Classic Championship victory, taking care of business against Miami of Ohio at 72-53. And they are 5-0 in non-conference games this season. Todd Bergen is the leader, a left-hander who comes at you down low and also from the outside.
He really does, and he's had a terrific career here at Syracuse. The thing with Todd Bergen, though, is he's not shooting the ball well this year. He's made a transition from the big forward spot last year that he was playing to the small forward spot this year. He's having trouble really beating people to the basket. So it's important for him, I think, to start to get back into the mode. It's going to be very important for Syracuse University for him to play like a three-man and not a four-man.
The Bulls hope to pull off the classic upset. Syracuse looks at it as another victory for the Orangemen on their home court. We'll have the introduction to the players in the opening tap in a moment.
Big Four Basketball on Empire is sponsored by M&T Bank, all the bank you'll ever need. By Pepsi, Generation Next. By Wiper Check, the drive-through wiper blade replacement and auto glass specialist. By the nice ATM card, now it buys you stuff. By your local Chevrolet dealer. The document company Xerox. By Spalding, the official basketball of the Big Four. And by GHI, with 60 years of health insurance.
What do all these people have in common? They're all getting discounts on their auto insurance from Allstate. So, who's your insurance agent?
Beverly Smolinski, 4660 Cap Road, Hamburg, half-mile north of West Turf Ford. Or Steve Prohovic, 3875 South Park Avenue, Blaisdell, in the Command Plaza.
Being in good hands is the only place to be.
My son insisted we try America Online. I said, what's in it for us? Now I know better. America Online makes our lives easier. It saves time and money, too. Look, I'll show you.
You've got mail.
My wife's family is all over the map. Big phone bills. Now she uses email. Just point, click. She says it's a great way to keep in touch. I don't mind saving for retirement anymore. I can research mutual funds, chart all my stocks, and do my banking all from home anytime I want. Now I have more time for family fun, like playing computer games. We download all our favorites and get a teacher's help with homework. No wonder the kids area earned the Parents' Choice seal of approval. I used to be intimidated by the internet and the World Wide Web, but thanks to America Online's great new web browser, I'm right at home. And there's more. Scan hundreds of magazines, get sports scores, enjoy hobbies, even shop online. So call this toll-free number and get everything you need to make your life easier and more fun.
Call 1-800-378-9889 for your free startup kit and 50 free hours.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Carrier Dome. Jim Prince and Jim Sadlin. Here are tonight's starting lineups. First for the UB Bulls, it is Peterson, Martino, Young, McMillan, and Alkus. Let us check out the Syracuse starting lineup. Hart, Janulis, Blackwell, Bergen, and Thomas. Set the tip off here at the Carrier Dome. Don Rutledge is the lead official, and he will toss the ball into the air.
Interesting Southeast Conference crew for this game right here. Refereeing crew of three guys that, you know, you got two teams that are 140 miles apart, and they bring in three referees from down in the southern part of the country. So that's some kind of a neutral site game, no doubt.
Yeah, we talked to Don Rutledge before tonight's telecast, asked him, what are you doing all the way up here? And he said, hey, I go where they send me.
And where they pay him, more importantly. That's right.
They work down low on the block. Move inside, that one won't fall. Rebound Blackwell, and he gets the first basket of the game.
That's what you're going to see all game long right there, James, is that they're going to get the ball inside to Thomas or to Blackwell or to Bergen to try to take advantage of the great size that they have.
Here's a great matchup. Young against Bergen, and that time Rasan Young beats him with a nice little spin move off the dribble and banks it in.
Well, that's a terrific move by Rasan Young taking it to the basket, but if they're going to live off of those kind of moves all game long, that's going to be difficult. UB straight man-to-man, which surprises me a little bit, even though they are a man-to-man team.
Janulis thought about it, didn't pull the trigger, gave it off to Jason Hart. He'll shoot it from the outside, too hard off the iron. Rebound comes down to Alkus.
UB would look and like very much to have Jason Hart to shoot jump shots.
And just like that, Peterson pulls up in midcourt and tosses it out of bounds. And Timmy Cohane, the head coach of the UB Bulls, not liking that particular pass.
Unforced error, and they can ill afford to have those kind. There we see Boeheim was at just an unbelievable record in his long tenure here at Syracuse.
Baseline drive, Janulis give it off center lane. Stopped away that time by McMillan.
Good defense, and that's what UB is going to need, is to play all kinds of strong defense, team defense on the inside, because individually they're not going to be able to stop the Syracuse squad.
Bergen on the inbound pass. It comes all the way out near midcourt. Syracuse sets up around the perimeter now.
Hard matchup right here, and Rashawn Young going against Todd Bergen.
Blackwell in underneath, reverse layup, curls over the iron and drops.
Well, we saw Ryan Blackwell win the MVP award last weekend in the Carrier Classic. He's taken up right where he left off by getting the first two buckets of the game here for Syracuse.
Now, one thing you might see here from UB is they might run some clock, Jim. They may work the offense around the perimeter until they get the first open good look. That one, however, did not drop for Rasan Young, and here come the Orangemen quickly the other way. They would like nothing better than to get the tempo going, and the traveling violation on Janulis, and it's a turnover for Syracuse.
Pretty good look at the other end by Rasan Young, and you're right. I think they'd like to use a little clock, UB would, but you know, more than anything else, I think they just got to take good shots every time down the court. You see Janulis at this end of the court gets called for a travel. Janulis is a great standstill shooter, not a great shooter when he has to put the ball in the court.
Martino tries to penetrate, is double teamed and cut off.
Interesting matchup with Janulis guarding Martino. When we talked earlier in the opening, Martino needs to have a big game here. Janulis not the best defensive player in the Syracuse team.
Baseline, in underneath, Young in traffic, kicks it out. Martino shoots it from the outside and gets his opening spinning shot to drop it. It's a three.
And you see the UB bench erupt, you know, with glee that time because he's been in such a bad slump that he knocks down his first three. Jim Boeheim and the Syracuse team do not want to see that.
Bulls take the lead, 5-4. Jason Hart controlling, now give it off. Janulis. Back to Hart. They swing around the perimeter. This is Bergen. Look in underneath. Drop down low on the block. They tried to draw the foul that time. Alcus did. But it was a pretty easy play that time for Eton Thomas. And quickly the other way. Bergen. He'll be called for goaltending.
Boy, that's a great play by Mike Martino and Rashawn Young, though. Syracuse scores their one in. They take it right out, run the ball down the court. Slow getting back for the Syracuse Orangemen.
In the basket then to Young at the other end, and you see it is clearly a goaltend by Bergen.
Yep, good call by the officials. Bergen was late getting back on the defensive end.
Now Blackwell posts up down low. And Thomas comes out high. Now they flip-flop. Send Thomas down on the block.
You're going to see Syracuse look to get the ball on the inside almost all night long here.
Janulis pulls the trigger. Thomas is there and tries to dunk it through. Wouldn't fall for it, but he draws the foul.
We've got a very, very large mismatch here with the big people on the inside. Thomas, while not a real accomplished offensive player, is 6'9" and probably 240. He's a strong physical player. We see him get a rebound right there, although there's no box out. And Elkes just not strong enough to be able to keep him off the board.
Yeah, he's 6'9" and 235, but you're right, does not have that upper body strength as well developed as Thomas does. Thomas does not drop the first free throw through.
Syracuse is a horrendous foul shooting team this year, only shooting about 58%.
Well, he's a 56% shooter in the line.
And he's not abnormal with this basketball team. They just are not shooting the ball well from the foul line. And he gets 1 out of 2, and that's just about what his percentage is.
We're tied at 7. Pressure by Syracuse. Bulls beat it, get it in the front court. Martino finds Alcus as he pops out on the corner. Now it's Peterson. McMillan. Backdoor cut. Young lost it, but it went into the hands of Peterson.
Very good spacing by UB right now. They've really got some clear outs here in the big. Oh, great play.
That's a terrific ball fake by Rashawn Young, and he loved it. He loved it.
That's one that you do in the playground when you don't have anything else to do. You fake it behind somebody's back. And Rashawn Young just made a great play.
6 points for Young, but quickly Jason Hart puts the Orangemen back in front. That's Hart's first basket.
Jason Hart is a very talented player. You see Syracuse look for some double team.
Martino trying to free himself for the open one-hander. Won't go. Alcas offensive rebound goes up. Has it rejected, and here come the Orangemen the other way. Thomas with the block.
Easton Thomas leads the Big East in shot blocks, and you just saw why.
Short off the front of the iron that time by Bergen. Now it's Buffalo trying to push the ball the other way. McMillan brings it back outside. Now Young looks for the penetrating move, goes in underneath. Off balance, one-hander, and he pulls the string and banks it in.
Rashawn Young is a proven scorer, has over 1,500 points in his career at UB. Will come close anyways to being one of the top scorer in UB history. And, you know, when you watch him make a move the way he did on Scott Bergen right there, he is a scorer. There's no question of that.
Bulls playing good hands-in-your-face defense. They knock ball away from Bergen, but right into the hands of Hart. Now Bergen. Skip pass way across the lane. Now they give it off Janulis. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Inside, Bergen catches balls away, way off the mark. Peterson has it for UB. Full-length court pass. Young's got it. Takes the off-balance shot. Bad choice that time.
Ill-advised shot by Rashawn Young. He's been very effective so far. Didn't need to go to that one.
From the outside, the three is drained by Ryan Blackwell.
See, this game does not play well into UB style right now. Even though they like to shoot the ball and like to do some things, this is really not UB style. This is Syracuse style.
Here's the trap, ball loose on the floor. Actually, he kicked at it. That should be a violation, and one of the officials caught it. Playing a little soccer there was Todd Bergen. That's a no-no in basketball.
Yeah, but that's a very, very good call by the official. Usually you'd miss something like that.
14:16 to go, first half of play. Syracuse leads by 1 at 12-11 over Buffalo. Right here on the Empire Sports Network. Well, what do you think so far?
So far, UB has played very well. I'm just not so sure, though, that this is the style of play that they really want. They're getting into a racehorse game with a bunch of thoroughbreds that they really don't have.
On the turnover, as Bergen took a kick at the basketball when he was on the floor, it'll be UB ball, and Martino will walk it into front court. Here comes the trap. They beat it easily, and swing it to McMillan. He had the open shot, didn't pull the string. Inside the pass goes. Tough left-handed shot would go. Tipped out that time. Robert Harris in traffic as he just checked into the lineup for the Bulls. Hart right to the basket, counted.
That's Jason Hart's game, going hard to the hole, and he goes through it as well as anybody in the Big East Conference.
Hart has 4 points. Young. Now they swing outside Peterson. A little better spacing now as they set up their offensive set in the half court. Peterson kick it back outside McMillan. There's the open shot from the outside, but it's going to be short off the iron. Bergen has the rebound for Syracuse.
All jump shots for UB right now, other than a couple of the breakaway layups they had. And UB not a great shooting team from the outside, so if they start taking all jump shots, they're in trouble.
Blackwell, again the entry pass. Bergen following one-hander along the baseline. In and out, it wouldn't drop. And there again is the height. Bergen lays it up and in. Terrific look that time by Ryan Blackwell to find Bergen, who was open underneath.
Ryan Blackwell plays an awful lot of good basketball. There's a wide open three for Martino, and I'll tell you what, once he gets on track here, it might not make a huge difference tonight, and it will keep UB close, and not necessarily have them win, but it will bode very well for this UB team when they get into conference play in January.
Yeah, you talked about how Martino had been struggling from the outside and really needed to try to get his game on track shooting-wise, and he's done that already.
They're not happy, though, that he gets a wide open look.
Well, that one won't fall, and it's Robert Harris. No, it's Rashawn Young who has the rebound. Quickly, they run the other way. McMillan in traffic right to the hoop. Had it rejected by Blackwell. Janulis off the Bergen. He double dribbles the basketball. Little sloppy play here by the Orangeman.
I think that was Thomas that blocked it at the other end, Jim, and that's why we saw he's a sophomore who had 6 blocks last week against Texas Southern in the first game of the Carrier Classic. Syracuse had 15 in total. Here's
it is Thomas. Yep.
He's got great hands. He's got great timing. You know, this kid is going to be a very good player down the road. He's only a sophomore. He's a little raw offensively. Really a good defensive player.
Martino again breaks away from the pack, shoots the three. It's off the front of the iron. Syracuse looking to run. Bulls get back defensively. Janulis to Hart, penetrating move, good defense by Martino, but Hart just kicks it out, but that will not fall, and Martino comes up with the ball. In traffic, Bergen tries to steal it, they call the jump ball, and the possession arrow favors Buffalo.
You know, right now, as we see Todd Bergen coming down, he needs to get untracked here a little bit, has got the one layup off of the great pass from Blackwell, but Bergen, who has not shot the ball well all year long, really has to start taking better shots in order to get into this thing. UB right now has played very well, 16-14, with almost halfway through the first half. They got to be happy with what's going on.
Nice no look inside, tough shot that time, wouldn't go for Harris. Intimidation once again.
All about size, Jim, right there. Harris, 6'4" senior or 6'4" junior forward, really going up against much bigger people than himself. It's hard to complete those kind of plays.
33 Thomas and 32 Blackwell. That's a lot of big guys in there who know what to do when somebody comes in their lane. Martino picks up the loose ball. Is he going to challenge Janulis? He does, and draws the foul.
So far, the Syracuse team has not gotten back in any way at all defensively, and Jim Boeheim not happy. He's bringing some subs coming in here. We see Martino do exactly what you're supposed to do when you're out in the open court. Go right to the basket. Draws the foul from Janulis, who tries to create some problems for him. We know that Martino is a great free throw shooter, so you can almost chalk up 2 when he gets to the free throw line.
And nearly 84% as a free throw shooter. Opchina checks into the lineup now for Syracuse.
Here we go, guys. 1.
7 points already tonight for Mike Martino.
Martino, who only averages 14 for the year, already has 8 in the first not even 9 minutes of this game. Great start for UB.
11:23 to go, first half. We are tied, Syracuse 16, Buffalo 16.
For 27 years, I've been peanuts.
For Bill Horrigan, 2304 George Urban Boulevard, Depew, in the Cortez Plaza.
Being in good hands is the only place to be.
Sabres skate back into action tomorrow night, 7:30, when they play host to the divisional rival Montreal Canadiens. The Mad Hockey Hotline follows the game on your home for Sabres, Empire Sports Network.
This is an interesting game for Syracuse, Jim, in that They are leaving early tomorrow morning to go to Las Vegas to play the Rebels on Saturday, then go right to Puerto Rico. Could they be looking by this game and not taking this thing as serious as they should be? It's very, very real possibility right here. UB has played well to start with.
Janulis pops out, spots perfectly for the three-point ball and drains it.
Janulis has now made a three-point shot in 26 straight games, a school record. Shooting 55% from the three-point line.
That'll be a pushing foul. It'll be on Archina.
Syracuse has been very pleased with their defense up until this game. I'm sure Jim Boeheim not terribly thrilled with the way they're playing right now from a defensive standpoint. But UB a scrappy, good shooting team, won a lot of close games. You know, the longer they stay in this thing, certainly the better opportunity they have of making this a game through 40 minutes.
Now, they couldn't get the inbounds pass in, so they called the 20-second timeout. Ironically enough, Buffalo trailing Syracuse right now at 19-16. Martino has 8, and Rasan Young has 8. By the way, I guess you come and you do your needlepoint at these games,
the dome knitter. She's been an institution here at Syracuse for a long, long time, and that's what they do.
She making you a blanket or something,
I'm
huh?
not sure what she's doing for us, but she's been here doing these things a long time, and a lot of people know about her.
Well, we talked about Janulis. You saw the graphic on the screen. Here's Martino. Now Matt Clements is into the lineup. Back to Young. Rasan penetrates, has to kick it back outside. Clements is wide open spot. 3-ball won't go. Rebound tapped out of bounds. Who's got it? It's going to be Buffalo basketball. Last touch by Syracuse is Eric Williams.
Well, Syracuse will go a 2-3 zone out of bounds, try to trap the first pass in bounds if they get it to the corner right here. And UB scouts it well. Tim Cohane, they see it, and they're going to end up getting
pretty good ball movement by UB, and they skip past, but that one is picked off. Syracuse was waiting for it. And on the turnover, the Orangemen are quickly in front court again. And Williams doesn't hesitate. He drops it down from the baseline.
Freshman Eric Williams, who was one of the only freshmen that's really got any significant time coming off the bench. They think he's got a very good future here. He'll get a little stronger. He's a big, strong guy right now, but he's got to get a little balance, a little better balance on the court in order to be a successful player in the Big East.
Martino kicks it back outside now to Young. And a little later on in our telecast, we'll talk a little bit about Damone Brown and also Malik Campbell.
Yep.
That one won't fall. Williams has the rebound. He's quickly in the record book.
Yes, he is. Another good look, though, by Martino, and the ball just rimmed in and out.
Loose on the floor. Controlled by Syracuse. Hart has it off the Janulis. Archina finds Hart. Spin move center of the lane, and he got it. And he'll go to the line and shoot one.
That is a big-time move by a very strong. I think what people look at with Syracuse, and they don't realize how big Jason Hart is. I mean, he's close to 6'4", and he towers over Mike Martino. There's a great spin move, and he feels a little pressure from Martino and then just throws the ball up, almost like a professional continuation call. Hart likes to call himself, of course, but he's probably Syracuse's best player. He's their most valuable player, certainly. He's a very good defensive player, aggressive, likes to go to the basket, good leader. Just has to shoot the ball better in order to become a great player.
Completes the three-point play. He's a 65% free throw shooter. Here's the pressure that Jim had talked about and how Syracuse was going to try to use that, particularly here in the first half of play. UB breaks it down, however, and now Syracuse will drop back a little bit. The Bulls have an opportunity to set up their half-court offense.
Well, we see Ryan Peterson in the game as he unfortunately throws the ball away on that play. This is a big game for a freshman coming in and playing against this style.
And Hart gives it right back the other way. Here goes Young, right to the basket. He challenged, and he couldn't get it to fall, but they called him for a walking violation.
Well, that's what 6'11" will do for you when he's standing back there. Upchina is kind of waiting for him. Young thought he needed to make an extra move in order to make that play. But that, you know, when we see the play right here as Young goes to the basket, loses control a little bit.
Right there, yep.
Takes the extra step, but trying to figure out how he's going to get a shot over the big guy.
Hey, in the NBA, they get away with that every night.
All the time.
8-0 in the last 2:21, the scoring run right now for Syracuse. Howard is in the lineup now for the Orangemen. That's LaShawn Howard. Down low on the block, Williams had it. Pretty good defense by Alcus, and it's picked off by UB. This is Ryan Peterson in front court. Lob into the corner. The shot, and it's down. That's McMillan who drops that one in.
McMillan is probably their most consistent three-point shooter. Spots up nicely on the outside and gets a good look. But Syracuse right now is just taking all kinds of chances, double teaming every time down, trying to get the pace of this game going a little bit in their direction. Didn't pay off that particular time as McMillan really spots up nicely. Has a good pass into the corner. Syracuse has 3 guys, though, over guarding the ball. That's way too many to trap at the half-court line.
All right, if you're Tim Cohane, you tell your guys, hey, listen, we're doing reasonably well here. Let's continue with what we're doing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you're down 5. They've been doing a good job on the defensive end. They've kept it close from there. I mean, this is a step up in class for UB, no question of that. But they did play at Seton Hall early in the year, another Big East team. The coaches, when you talked to them, felt that they had a legitimate chance to win that game. Didn't come through at the end, but, I mean, they've played teams like this before. They haven't beat a ranked team in a long, long time.
Here's the lob and the entry down low. Avcina, of course, with that extra height advantage, and they execute it perfectly.
And we see the press now as Syracuse tries to come up hard. There's a wide-open player down the court if they can see him.
Couldn't see him. And they leave it up to Peterson. He breaks the pressure, and then Avcina picks off the pass. And he's motoring to the basket. And they're way too hard as he throws it away. Pretty good defense by McMillan to get back against the big guy.
You know, Archina will be out of the game immediately. This is Jim Boeheim kind of looking at him, and he's not as happy about that move as some of the crowd was. As he takes it and goes behind his back and tries to do it.
Yeah, Thomas is going to check in for Avcina. Here's the big man motoring toward the basket.
Archina's really a good passer, but that was not one of his better efforts right there, unfortunately for him, as he takes his seat on the bench.
UB breaks the pressure. Alcus had the open 8-footer, but chose not to shoot it.
Syracuse's pressure has really gotten UB out of the rhythm somewhat as they commit to a lot of double teams.
And a reach in. Is it on Howard? Yes, it is.
They see the hard double and then commits the foul instead. But this is Syracuse's game right now with the style and the fast pace of this thing.
Break in the action. We'll take a timeout also. 26-19, Orangemen.
Has been creating.
Well, we've always talked, Jim, about the different levels of class and in different levels of Division I. Here we see the difference in size as they make the long lob pass. Archina's 6'11", guarded on the inside by McMillan 6'5", and unfortunately that's what Syracuse has kind of got going for them right now. There's such a huge size differential.
26-19, Bulls in front court. You see the pressure being applied right now by Syracuse. Great look inside. That is young.